Actually, I have the best job in the world because I get to talk to people, living legends. This space allows me to have these conversations and be in community with people who have done the work. People, many of you may not know, but you're gonna know. You're gonna know today, and if you don't know now, you know. People, she is a professor of American social thought and history at the University of Pennsylvania. She's also written many, many, many books. Today, I want to talk about one of her books in particular as it relates to reparations. It is My Face is Black is True, Callie House and the Struggle for Ex-Slave Reparations. Let me welcome the great Dr. Mary Frances Berry. Hi.
Hey, thank you for having me. Can you
Listen,
hear me,
Dr. Berry.
Karen?
yes, we can hear you. Hi.
Hello there, Professor Tyler Merritt, too. All
So
Yes.
right.
glad you're
So
here.
we all professors. Come on. And this is
We're
Martin's
griots.
birthday. And
Yes.
I want to sing happy birthday to you. Can I just say that much,
You
Martin?
said it. Yes, you may.
And
Yes, you may.
Coretta would be really happy today. I spent a lot of time with her, talking to her in all those years after Martin was assassinated. And then when I gained some kind of public, what they call prominence, I don't know what Malcolm X would call it, but, and she was just so happy that they were able to get service as one of the things that we all ought to emphasize on this day. She said, I know people are going to go to the malls and they're going to shop and they're going to do stuff all the day. But if we can just get embedded the idea of service. And she was really just very uptight about making sure that happened. And I think it has happened. Don't you think so?
It's mixed. I have the pleasure of sitting here every day, examining the world, disseminating information, listening, watching, talking. And I feel like Martin, his last book that was published posthumously, Where Do We Go From Here? I don't really know. Is it community? Is it chaos? To your point, Dr. Berry, yes, there's in this space a lot of community. In this space, there is service. In this space that we're in currently. But I feel like I'm seeing, flyers for strip clubs to honor Martin Luther King. I mean, I feel like
Oh,
there's no
okay.
grounding or centering, and
Okay.
there's no blueprint for what service looks like today. You understood this. So in your book, you talk about, being a domestic worker in your early years. You spent 80 more than 80 years on this earth. So you touched. This is why it's important, y'all. You touched a lot of moments in history in your life of service. Tell us
Yes,
how you're seeing it.
that kind of service. Yes, I did a little bit of everything. I was in an orphanage once when I was a baby, and I've done it. I've been from high and low, and I've been poor, and I've been better off. Better off is better. But anyway, I've
Oh, that's true.
seen the world from every kind of aspect. But what I want to say to you, when you said that last book that Martin wrote, Where Do We Go From Here? Which he actually wrote, in fact. A lot of people don't write the books. They get people to, go done with so-and-so, by, or whatever. But he actually wrote the book. And what is important about it, we miss what is important about it. And I talk about it when I go out and give talks this week and all around the world a year. Look, became convinced that nonviolent direct action, protest, had to be involved in the mix. He believed in the right to vote. He made great speeches about the right to vote. And as again, I say, Coretta and I talked about this all the time, like where was he going? That he believed in all of that, but he knew from experience, he knew from what happened at the Democratic National Convention in 1964 when they wouldn't let Fannie Lima and the Mississippi delegation even get, there to be represented. And it was really embarrassing on national television. He knew also, look at this. This is what's really important, I think. When he and Coretta were in Boston, they didn't spend a lot of time with the poor people that we know, the poor Black community in Boston that's been there all the time. They were on campus, they were studying, and then he was courting her, and all that stuff was going on. They were reading and so on, and they got married or whatever. But when he went to New York also, and that time he was stabbed when he was on that book tour, he didn't get around in New York. He was in Harlem then, but he didn't spend. He was on a book tour. I know. I've been on book tours myself. What he did, but when he went to Chicago, one of the things that she and I talked about that he said, well, I've been all these years talking about the right to vote and how if we could just protect our vote, great speeches. We would do this and that. But he said, I was talking to a person who told me, we've been voting a long time. And don't you still see these slums and tenements, and rats and all us poor and everything else, and people discriminating against us and all the stuff that happened? And it's sort of like, well, yes, the part of voting is important, and we should continue, to work to get it. And so one of the things that has happened to us as a people, Callie House understood that too. The woman I wrote about in My Face is Black for True, poor woman was a slave, all that, and started what the federal government investigators said was the largest movement of Negroes that had existed starting in 1898. 300,000 dues-paying members, 25 cents a year. Most of them didn't have 25 cents, but they paid whatever they could pay to try to get the federal government to give us some kind of reparations. In any case, that we had to add the vote to direct action. What we knew that in Montgomery, we didn't vote our way into desegregating the buses. We're not going to vote our way into getting reparations. If we sit around and think that if we vote for certain people, they're going to pass HR 40, they're going to do all this stuff because we voted. No, you have to have, and that book that you're talking about, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos, Community, was part of the blueprint for the Poor People's March.